Welcome to the Two Ton Nerds. As always, my name is Max James. It's October 3rd, 2018, which means it's day 3 of the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project, year 7. And today's movie is Fear Town, USA. Now, before I tell you what you need to know about this movie, and my initial response when the final credit rolled was that I picked this movie solely on the poster alone. I didn't read the synopsis. I didn't watch any trailers. I just picked it because of the trailer. I was flipping through Amazon Prime and like, oh, gotta watch this because it's just, like I said, based on the poster. And from the poster alone, I was thinking that it was going to be like a cabin in the woods kind of movie with a kind of a Evil Dead or kind of a slasher feel to it. Well, I kind of got that, but not to what I thought it was going to be, like very dark and gritty. Well, because before I get to the final credit, the first credit set the tone of the entire movie. Because when that first title card popped up and that music kicked in and it says a Trauma Team release, I knew exactly what I was getting into when this movie first started. I didn't have to watch anything, and I knew exactly what kind of humor, what kind of blood. I expected there was going to be plenty of nudity in some way. It was just going to be a lot of fun, and I got all that. So when the final credit rolled, I thought the movie was a lot of fun. I thought it was cheesy, it was campy, because I actually set out this year for this list to get a lot of camp, cheesy horror movies, because I think over the years I've been too serious with my lists. You know, I kind of mixed in a few here and there, but this year I'm really embracing the cheese factor when it comes to horror movies. So when I thought the movie was over, I thought it was fun. It was great. The cheese factor was perfect. I loved every minute of it. There's plenty of good gags. It made me laugh. I like the blood effects. It was practical effects. I mean, in some cases, yeah, they had to use CGI because there's a thread going through the movie that involves a ghost, but I'll get to that in a second. But I loved this movie. I thought it was hilarious because I love trauma movies. I love the Toxic Avenger and Poltergeist, and I even love their documentaries of like the behind the scenes stuff. They make those really, really well. So with all that being said, I got to tell you what you need to know about this movie. And first up is the plot. The plot of the movie has a few narratives going on. You got this typical raunchy movie where 4 boys are trying to lose their virginity, and they just happen to go through like a bunch of shenanigans before they even get to the party. You got the ghost thread where this girl has a secret, and she's being haunted by this girl who keeps sending her text message saying she's fat and telling her to drink bleach. You got this another one where this guy who peed his pants and nobody wants to talk to, while his friends are out getting high in the woods. And then you got another thread where this girl is talking to this guy online and is going to meet him at this party, at the St. Blevins Day party. And all these were funny in their own way, and I really liked it because and there's like a escape mental patient. But that was only kind of mentioned in passing, and it doesn't come into play until much later in the movie. But because I totally forgot about it. The pee your pants thread. His name's Pat, and he's constantly getting picked on, or like, I don't want to talk to you, that kind of stuff. And his backstory is hilarious. You got the Bleach Valley Girl sorority sister storyline, and that was I think that was actually kind of like the weakest one, but I think it has the best gag in the movie. Oh yeah, and there's also one of the best the best narrative in the whole movie is there's this scene where they bring in like a mind reader, and the bunch of people at this party are just sitting down like enjoying the party tricks, and he ends up kind of like, oh, there's an evil force in this place, and then it like pans over to an actual guy in one of those cheesy devil costumes where it's like the horns are on like a fake cow. It's all red cape and like a red leotard, and he's the most unconvincing devil in the entire place, in the entire world. But it's done so funny because like the skeptic in the group who's like, oh, someone told you all this stuff beforehand, and no, he's like, no, it's like he's the devil. It's like, can you actually see? He's like, no one's like, I don't see it, and blah blah blah, and it's just like, okay, I don't want to ruin any of this because I want you to experience this movie. So that's the plot. You got the scare factor, which there is absolutely none. You got the blood and guts effect. It's done practical. I think the only CGI is the ghost effect, and I think they just filmed her in front of a green screen and kind of just like made her transparent and add her blue filter to her. So that's the length of CGI in this movie. The practical effects when it comes to like decapitations and stuff like that, it's like good old school. Like if you like the at the end of Friday the 13th when Pamela Voorhees gets her head cut off, and it's just kind of like just like silicone or like that kind of like really rigid neck cuts as the head goes off. It looks hilarious. Oh man, I got a kick out of this movie. I can't get enough how cheesy this movie, and that's exactly what I wanted out of this year's list, and it was a good one to start with. There's a few more on this list, but this one's a very tough one to top. So this is my rating scale for this movie. 1 being run-of-the-mill horror, 2 best watch with the group, 3 more than average horror but adds nothing new to the horror genre, 4 helps move the horror genre forward, and 5 being a horror classic. And Fear Town USA is definitely A2. It is definitely best watch with the group. You get a bunch of your friends who have this sense of humor, and you will just enjoy this movie because it's one of those movies where it's meant to be picked apart and just enjoyed with people who have your same kind of sense of humor, because there's a gag in this movie that it just makes me just laugh just thinking about it, because after this girl, the ghost keeps telling this girl to go kill herself with bleach, and she's refusing, and then she kind of runs out of the room and runs back into it, and everyone has killed themselves with bleach, and then it's the exact same bottle of bleach. There's like 20 people in this room with all the same bottle of bleach dead. And then I actually said out loud, I was like, where did they get all these bottles of bleach? And then sure enough, on screen, the next line of dialogue was like, where did they get all this bottle of bleach? And I just like, that kind of stuff just matches, when those kind of moments match up on screen, is perfect. So this definitely has my recommendation. If you're just wanting a cheesy movie to watch that has kind of horror elements, but it's done in a camp factor, I highly recommend Fear Town USA. So, as always, my name is Max James, and I'm going to go geek out.